All right, everybody, let's get started here. Sparta Board of Education regular meeting is called to order at 6:35 p.m. We're going to go right into the meeting announcement. Neve, will you read the meeting announcement, please?
Sure. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Sparta Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Sparta Board of Education office, 18 Mohawk Avenue, as designated by the Board of Education for posting of such notice in a public place. Written notice was emailed on January 11th, 2022 to the New Jersey Herald, the Star Ledger, tapintosparta.net, and to the Township Clerk, specifying the date, time, and place of this meeting.
Thank you very much. Prior to roll call, I'd like to make a motion for Ann Warhol to serve as the acting board secretary for this evening. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Neve, thank you. Ann, roll call, please.
Ms. Bragg. Here. Ms. Collier.
Here.
Ms. Grano.
Here.
Mr. Morris. Ms. Sealander.
Here.
Dr. Serrano.
Here.
Ms. Sorensen. Mr. Palashi.
Here. Thank you. Can everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're next, we're going to move to section 1.5, the introduction and administration of oath of office for newly elected board member Patrick McKernan.
Excuse me?
So we made a motion to have her. Do we have to vote on that also?
Yes, we do. I thought we did the roll. Didn't we just do the roll call?
We did a roll call.
Yeah.
No, but
Yes.
we,
I thought that was for,
But you know
for
what,
who
I
was
missed-
present and who wasn't.
I missed the roll call for the meeting.
so we did
Yes.
a motion and a second. Wendy's point is, we didn't take a vote on that motion.
And then we
So,
What we did was,
once, okay, I guess, yeah, I'm just trying to think through my head how that works, right? Because we made the motion, we had a second, so who takes the roll call?
so you, I mean,
Can
so
any-
was the roll call for the motion, or was the
That's
roll
what I
call
thought it
for?
was for, but I was, isn't that what the roll call
Yeah,
was
but
for?
I didn't do a second roll call for the actual meeting.
Oh, gotcha,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, so I skipped the roll call.
So
Right,
that, the
for
roll call that we
attendance, I
took was
skipped.
for the motion.
Yes,
Okay.
yep,
Gotcha.
sorry, and then I skipped the
We
roll
just want to
call.
make sure that whatever, that she's in tonight.
Right. So now, Ann, can we do the roll call for attendance, please? Sorry, that was my
Sorry, I
fault.
didn't mean to confuse you guys.
No, I
was just
skipped it, that's my
confused.
Very good catch.
No worries.
Very good.
All right. Ms. Bragg.
Okay, so now I say here, okay, because last time I said here too. So here.
Ms. Collier. Here. Ms. Grano.
Here.
Mr. Morris. Ms. Sealander.
Here.
Dr. Serrano.
Here.
Ms. Sorensen. Mr. Palashi.
Here. Okay, now we're going to move on to section 1.5, the induction and administration of oath of office for newly elected board member Patrick McKernan.
Great.
There's a mic on, yeah.
Oh, there's
Maybe grab that mic. I'll use this one. Or I can come to you. I'll use that mic so that everybody can hear you at home. Okay. Good evening, Mr. McKernan. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to swear you in as a member of the Sparta Board of Education. Would you please raise your right hand? I state your name.
I, Patrick McKernan,
And just repeat after me. Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will protect the Constitution of the United States
that I will protect the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state under the authority of the people,
and in this state under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Patrick McKernan,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense
listed in NJSA 188:12-1,
listed in NJSA 18A:12-1,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of that office
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mr. McKernan. Next, we're going to convene into closed session. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, provides for the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Sparta Township Board of Education is of the opinion that such circumstances exist to discuss personnel, student matters, matters of attorney-client privilege, and building safety and security, which is exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Sparta Township Board of Education shall enter into executive session on February 24th, 2022 at 6:42 p.m. We expect to be, the board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the executive session. The information discussed during the executive session will be disclosed to the public as soon as it is determined by the board that the information is no longer confidential. We expect to be back out right around 7:45 p.m. And can I have a second, please?
Second?
Eve, discussion? Can I have all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We're going to resume open session. Ann, can we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Ms. Bragg? Ms. Collier?
Hold on one second. It's not for attendance, it's a motion to go back into.
No, it's for attendance.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't
okay.
really need a motion to come back into public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here.
Sorry. Ms. Collier?
Here.
Ms. Grano?
Here.
Mr. McKernan?
Here.
Mr. Morris? Ms. Sealander?
Here.
Dr. Serrano?
Here.
Ms. Sorensen? Mr. Pleshing?
Here. All right, resolved that the Board of Education closes executive session and enters back into public session, the public session portion of the meeting at 8 o'clock p.m. Before we move on to the next section, I want to thank everybody for your attendance and your participation, for everybody here and virtually. One other area we'd like to speak to is the Board of Education and our administration will begin recognizing the passing of staff members and students with a moment of silence at our meetings moving forward. This evening, please join us with a moment of silence for Erin Moore. Erin Moore was a staple in our community and was a substitute nurse in our district. Unfortunately, Erin passed away unexpectedly on January 30th. So please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you all very much. Moving on now to district recognition. We have some very exciting awards up tonight for the Educator of the Year Awards, who will be presented by the building principals.
Yes, and I would just like to introduce what the New Jersey Governor Educator of the Year is. Each year, school districts around the state honor Educators of the Year. Teachers and educational specialists nominated for this prestigious award must be an exceptionally skilled and dedicated licensed classroom teacher, where teaching is the primary responsibility, and who is listed, it's a primary responsibility rather than administrative or supervisory responsibilities, or an educational services professional who is listed as one of the eligible enrollment areas. The teacher must have the latest summative rating of at least effective. If the teacher or ESP has not received the summative rating at the time of the application, then their most current practice rating should be at least effective or the equivalent. Be an expert in the field who inspires students of all backgrounds and abilities to learn. Actively collaborate with colleagues, students, and families to create a strong culture of respect and success. Demonstrate leadership and innovation in educational activities at the school, district, or state, and national levels that take place both within and outside the school setting. Have the respect and admiration of students, parents, and colleagues, and they cannot have earned this title within the past 5 years. With that, I would like to invite the building principals up to proudly introduce their Educators of the Year.
Good evening. I am Joe Leone. I am the principal at Alpine Elementary School, and I am here to recognize Danielle Chesla as Alpine Elementary School's Governor Educator of the Year. Come on up, Danielle. Danielle has taught in the district for 27 years and has taught kindergarten for the past 7 years. One of the reasons that Danielle deserves this honor is because she continually challenges herself as a teacher to provide a better kindergarten experience for her students. Danielle is always thinking of her students and ways to help them grow as she looks for new and inventive ways to reach her students. She is known to scour Pinterest or brainstorm with colleagues. She often walks into Alpine with a purchase she made because it would be perfect to enrich one of her lessons or because a student would benefit. Danielle has a special quality, and she is always trying to hone her craft. Danielle also took it upon herself to learn to play piano. She did this for her students because she knew learning the piano would enable her the opportunity to teach the children through rhythm and movement. Students enjoy the songs, and it truly enriches each child's experience. When you visit Danielle's classroom, you can hear the excitement in her voice as she leads her class. Lastly, a quality that makes Danielle deserving of this honor is that she is a leader among her colleagues and challenges them also. She leads by example and often offers support. Her colleagues can count on her to speak up for what is best interest of the children. They can also count on her for her creative ideas and advice. We are fortunate to have Danielle. Congratulations. Next up, we have Maggie Hederick, who is our Service Professional of the Year for Alpine School. Come on up, Maggie. Maggie is a teacher assistant at Alpine School. She always goes above and beyond when working with students. Maggie requests each year to work with our classrooms that provide the most intense level of support. She actively trains new teaching assistants and is always willing to work in different capacities. Maggie is unbelievably flexible and provides a different approach with each child she works with. She shows empathy and caring towards her students and an unbelievable amount of patience. Through the years, Maggie has had to work with teachers of varying personalities and teaching approaches, and she has always maintained a professional level of respect and commitment. She excels in all areas of her job and is an incredible, valuable asset to the students of Alpine. I trust that Maggie will always work collaboratively with our team and provide a positive mentoring for new teacher assistants. Maggie has made such a difference in so many students' lives, and we are thankful to have her as part of our team. Congratulations, Maggie.
Good evening, everybody, and congratulations to everybody who's receiving an award tonight. I'd like to call up Brianna Collins. Mrs. Collins can be described as accommodating, amiable, and an advocate for all of her students. She is dedicated to her students each and every year, going above and beyond to make learning fun and to make sure her students thrive academically. During distance learning, Brianna was constantly coming up with new and creative ways to meet the needs of her students. She is innovative in her lesson design and makes sure that all students receive the individualized attention that they deserve. The best teachers reach all their students by giving the whole class a great experience, but they change up the material a bit for each student. This individualized attention carries over into all that Brianna does as a teacher. A great deal of time outside of the school day is put into looking at the students' data and her personal notations from the school day to plan for further instruction. When one visits Mrs. Collins' classroom, you can see it is filled with flexible seating, crafts for hands-on activities, and engineering bins to engage the third grade mind and create happy students. Mrs. Collins has students that trust her, and she inspires them to want to learn and do their best. She builds confidence in her students, and she helps them see they can do great things. Mrs. Collins teaches through example and helps her students realize that what they have to do and what they want to do could be the same thing. She provides the students with guidance and coaching, getting to know each student and guiding them where exactly they need to go. Mrs. Collins has the ability to connect with the students and teach the content in a way that's inspiring, making her so deserving of this honor. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to call up Siobhan Monahan, our Educational Service Professional of the Year. Siobhan is one of our teaching assistants at the Mohawk Avenue School. She's one that shows extreme patience and caring to all the students at the school. Whenever she is interacting with the students, she's always calm and shows that she truly cares about each and every one of them. She is well respected by the students, parents, and staff. Mrs. Monahan is extremely dedicated to all of her colleagues. She is always willing to help out or fill in wherever needed without hesitation. She has a very uplifting attitude and is always seeing the positive, never the negative. I can honestly say that Mrs. Monahan is a real-life cheerleader for all those around her. We all respect her at MAS and appreciate her tremendously. She truly has been a lifesaver whenever we are in a jam, and we always know we can count on her. Mrs. Monahan is deserving of this recognition for all of her efforts, hard work, and dedication to the Sparta School District. She's a team player and always goes above and beyond to assist students as well as coworkers. Congratulations, Siobhan.
Sorry for any confusion. I am Tracy Rivera. I'm the assistant principal at Helen Morgan School. I am here today to talk about our service provider of the year, Nurse Lillian Farrell. To say over the past 2 years the responsibilities of the school nurse have shifted would certainly be an understatement. Never was this more apparent than when last fall our nurses, along with the building administration, would go from room to room, measuring the distance between desks using a meter stick, making sure the spacing of school desks met the latest requirements from the Department of Health. As a school community, we have relied on the school nurse to provide our students, parents, and staff with guidance in how to navigate the changing rules of living and learning with COVID. Throughout this experience, Nurse Farrell has embraced this new critical role with patience, empathy, expertise, and grace. And of course, Nurse Farrell, like all of our school nurses, is doing this while providing our students with the same level of care and attention to the bumps, scratches, tummy aches, nosebleeds, lost teeth, and the occasional homesickness that didn't go away just because of COVID. As the county president of the School Nurses Association, Ms. Farrell has provided the same leadership to schools across the Sussex County and has advocated for the health and wellness of our students and staff in her frequent interactions with the Department of Health. As an advocate for our students and the HMS community, we recognize, thank, and honor Nurse Farrell for this most deserving award.
Hi, I'm Doug Lehman, principal at Helen Morgan School. Perhaps it won't be said tonight, but I imagine a underlying thread to these presentations tonight will be the impact of COVID on teaching, learning, and social and emotional health of our students. This has been the most challenging period, certainly in this region of the country, in my opinion, in the history of American public education. And that's true for all of us. It's true for parents, educators, students, Board of Education members. And in these times of uncertainty, increased anxiety, concerns about falling behind, we look for a ballast that can provide students with comfort, safety, community, and an enthusiasm for learning. Throughout this experience, Ms. Heather Riquette, come on up, Heather. Ms. Riquette, like the teachers recognized tonight, the teachers in our audience, the teachers listening at home, has been a steadying force. She is a teacher who embraces risk and self-reflection and is always looking to see how her approach and methodologies must meet the interests and needs of her students rather than her students needing to meet a pre-established set of expectations. Her classroom is an example of how rigor, community, and even fun don't have to be exclusive of one another. She represents the very best in Spartan education, and I think we actually deserve some credit because she's a graduate of Sparta schools. Yes. In fact, as a 5th grader, she had her current team partner, Mrs. LaBelle, as her teacher. And other than Heather's mother, there's probably nobody in this audience tonight that is more proud, happy, and knowing that Heather deserves this award more than Mrs. LaBelle. So, Ms. Riquette, thank you for making students feel valued, seen, and heard, and for being a bright, shining beacon in these very foggy circumstances. Thank you.
I got lucky enough to follow Mr. Lehman. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Jabori, and I'm the principal at Sparta Middle School. It is my sincere pleasure to introduce to you tonight the Governor Educator of the Year and Educational Services Professional of the Year from Sparta Middle School. I will begin with the Sparta Middle School Educator of the Year, Mrs. Jane Schmick. Mrs. Schmick currently teaches mathematics to 6th grade students on the Topaz team at Sparta Middle School. Mrs. Schmick may be one of the most dedicated teachers that I have come across. She is passionate about her subject area, and that passion becomes contagious with the students in her classroom. I would like to share some comments of a few of her students shared with me about Mrs. Schmick. Those comments were, Mrs. Schmick is very organized and really nice. Mrs. Schmick is why math is my favorite subject. And finally, another student replied, oh, Mrs. Schmick, this year is the reason why I really love going to math class. Along with the positive impact that she has with her students, Mrs. Schmick is also dedicated to our school. She is the Topaz team leader and is a positive role model, acting as a mentor to both young and experienced teachers. And she is committed to making Sparta Middle School a better place. She is always sharing different thoughts and suggestions to improve the experience at our school. I would like to congratulate, and I am proud to present to you this year's Sparta Middle School Governor Educator of the Year, Mrs. Jane Schmick. Next, I would like to introduce to you the Sparta Middle School Educational Services Professional of the Year, Mrs. Kelly Kiff. Mrs. Kiff has been the media specialist at Sparta Middle School for the past 5 years and has made an immediate positive impact on our school. Mrs. Kiff is one of the most flexible professionals who is always willing to do anything that is asked of her. She is a dedicated member of our learning community who is proactive in her communication and involvement with our teachers and students. Mrs. Kiff often offers to teach lessons that supplement the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade curriculum. She engages the students in book chats, arranges author visits, and continues to keep the Media Center updated with current resources. In addition, Mrs. Kiff is the Sparta Middle School first line of tech support when it comes to Chromebook issues and other related technical questions. She is always willing to help and support any need that is presented from the middle school students and staff throughout the day. To quote a teacher, Kelly Kiff is a dedicated professional who has a passion for her work. She cares deeply about the students and staff here at Sparta Middle School, and she's a pleasure to work with. Kelly is very deserving of the title of Educational Services Professional of the Year. Please help me congratulate Mrs. Kelly Kiff.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ed Lazara, and I am the principal at Sparta High School. Dr. Beck, give you a little background about how this process works, but to jump in that a little bit more, we form our committees, we get our recommendations, we go through everything and our scoring and everything, and then we come out with our winners. So it's an involved process, and it's a great process. And I think, like, being a principal, it's one of those good moments that you get to have to recognize the people in your building that are making a difference. The funny thing was, when we went to recognize our Teacher of the Year, she wasn't there that day. So Dr. Beck came with his roses and balloons and everything, and she wasn't there. And then when she came back and we recognized her, then I wasn't there. So I really didn't get a good chance to really recognize her. And the same thing goes with our Support Professional of the Year. Tears and hugs and really proud and happy, and it's just a really good day to be a principal. We were always dealing with a lot of things, and when you get an opportunity to recognize your people for doing the great work they do, it's a good day. Our Educator of the Year is Christine Mace. Christine is an invaluable asset to the art department. She consistently serves our school community by modeling an innovative mindset to enhance programming. Christine founded our National Art Honor Society. She advised our high school yearbook, and she participated in our diversity team. Christine is the first to seek out resources to provide students with artistic experiences that venture beyond the walls of our high school building. She also creates the connection and forums that allow our students opportunities to earn accolades, awards, and careers in the artistic field. Christine has a natural talent to lead, to grow, and she's so well deserving of this recognition for her passion and dedication to her students and her subject area. This is a second career for Christine. We are lucky that she decided to go into this career, and she's been with us for 12 years, and it's my privilege to honor Christine Mace as our Educator of the Year. And our Support Professional of the Year is Suzanne Sanders. Suzanne goes above and beyond to support students and colleagues in all facets. Not only does she provide specialized support through her expertise and her role as an LDTC, she's a mentor, she's a leader. In addition to her child study team role, Suzanne assists with scheduling, organizing, and assigning paraprofessionals. She serves as the extended school year coordinator, and she has taken an active role in bringing the special education department together. She is a team player who's always willing to help. She brings laughter and levity to her work and always has a smile on her face. Her dedication to our staff and students is truly appreciated. She's an outstanding resource, not only for me and our administrators, but our other teachers in the building. She's a class act. And is this 22 years for you? No. All right, sorry. 18 years at Sparta. So, and we're lucky to have her. So congratulations, Susan.
Thank you, everyone, and congratulations to everybody who took home an award tonight. Next, we're going to move on to the student representatives report. Do we have any students tonight? Well, great.
Yes, that would be Joe Burns.
How you doing, Joe?
Hi, my name is Joe Burns. I'm the executive treasurer. So to start off, on March 26th, it's a Saturday, from 6:30 to 9:30, we'll be hosting a homecoming at Sparta High School. So we're calling it a spring fling since our homecoming that we're supposed to have a couple months ago, we had to cancel. We're opening it up to all grades 9 through 12. Tickets are going to be sold prior to the event in the cafeteria by the MRC. Grade level wise, seniors, they're planning their prom. That's going to be at Perona Farms on June 9th. However, they're still waiting on approval for outside guests. Junior wise, they're also planning their prom themselves. It's also going to be held at Perona Farms, and that's going to be on April 29th. The sophomores on March 11th, they're hosting a trivia night at the high school. And the freshmen, they're in the works for planning a Sparta, a student faculty basketball game as a fundraiser. And then to end off, the Sparta High School musical, The Newsies, that's going to be on March 4th, 5th, and 6th. Tickets will be sold prior to the event. It's going to be sold online only. That can be found on the Sparta High School website. And also, it's a great way for you to get volunteer hours, especially if you're in the Honor Society. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And may I note that he did all of that without notes. I'm very impressed.
I'd like to make a motion just for a quick 5-minute recess. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Neve, thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll take a quick 5-minute recess. right, we're ready to resume here. We're going to move on to section 7, approval of minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Eve, thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Who was that, Vanessa? Lauren, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Mr. McKernan?
Obviously, with this being my first board meeting, I'm going to abstain from all voting tonight, so I abstain.
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Paleschi?
Yes. Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Beck?
Thank you. I apologize in advance for the length of this superintendent report, but there's a lot to report, a lot of good things. First, I'll start with a COVID update. As I stated in my previous emails to the community, we're planning to move to masks being optional in all of our schools effective March 7th. There's still many matters that need to be addressed pertaining to social distancing, masks on buses, close contacts and contact tracing, quarantine, and other matters. The updated guidance was released yesterday afternoon. I will meet with the administrative team and the board's return to school committee and release our protocols to the community early next week. An update on strategic planning. Over the past several weeks, Mrs. Rossi and I have been working on completing the initial steps set forth in the Gantt chart for the district strategic plan. Specifically, we have completed the following steps, all within the deadlines. Meet with building administration and present the strategic plan, assemble building teams, schedule meetings with building teams to set expectations, review strategic plans, and review district data, set a regular schedule for building teams to develop objectives, and accomplish broad-based goals. All building teams are in place, they're on pace to have their specific goals approved by the board at the March meeting, and Tara and I have also been working on setting some goals to come out of our offices as well. Student representative, recent legislation was passed that requires the Board of Education of each school district that includes grades 9 to 12 to appoint the student who serves as the president of the student council or a designee of the president of the student council to serve as a non-voting student representative of the board. That law will take effect for next school year. So we are looking forward to welcoming a student on to represent the students as part of our Board of Education. The Sparta Theater presents Newsies. I also wanted to plug that as a student representative, also plug that. The promotional plug for Sparta Theater's performance of Newsies, which is scheduled to take place March 4th, 5th, and 6th. Dr. Lazara and I stopped by on Saturday to check out the rehearsal, and I can promise you that the show will be absolutely amazing, and I have my tickets for Friday evening, and I'm definitely looking forward to that next Friday evening. Sparta Robotics, also on Saturday, I had the privilege of attending the Sparta Robotics tournament, which is really something to attend if you've never attended one. After hosting the largest robotics tournament in the state with over 60 teams, the following, which we hosted last Saturday, the following robotics sub-teams have qualified for states from Sparta High School. 5249X Magician Team, Captain Bektar Tachev. Team members Liam Askin, Nick Audino, and Noah Atkins. 5249S Team Maestro, Captain Millen Dewberry. Team members Brandon Lusant, Andrew Riza, Cassidy Pry, Shannon Lloyd, and Tyler Harms. 5249J Team Not to Scale. Co-captains Laurel Ferguson, Jack Marazidi, and team members Joe Burns, Matt Burns, Jack Budofsky, and Kaylee Simpson. Congratulations to those teams. An update on winter sports. Even though it's still going on, there are some honors, some things to recognize right now. Individual honors for winter track. Jack Marazidi and Charlotte Rogoff placed in sectionals and are on to the group championships to take place this Saturday. Wrestling. Logan Hrenenko, Sebastian Gomez, and Bradley Maines all placed in districts and are going on to regionals this weekend. Team honors. Our girls' ski team was NJAC champions. And congratulations to our girls' basketball team, who were also NJAC division champions. And the girls will also be playing the HWS championship against Pope John. It was actually moved from tomorrow evening to Saturday evening. That will take place at Centenary University. and we look forward to the continued success of the girls' basketball team as they will undoubtedly make a deep run into the playoffs. The March 17th special board meeting, the NJDOE has revised their budget timelines and have now moved the due date for tentative budgets to be submitted to the County Department of Education. Instead of March 21st, that deadline is now March 28th. So with that said, we have additional time to complete, approve, and submit the budget, and can approve the tentative budget at our regular March 24th meeting. And I have recommended to the Board of Education that we cancel the March 17th special meeting that was set solely to approve the tentative budget under the old timeline, and we just move that meeting or the approval of that budget to the regularly scheduled March 24th meeting. And that's my report for the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Beck. Moving on to section 11, the HIB report. Approval of the HIB report. Do I have a motion? Motion. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palessi?
Yes. Moving on to section 13, delegate liaison reports. Do you have anybody that wants to report out? Vanessa?
Yes, I just want to share 2 things for Sparta Education Foundation. They will be having their Dragon Boat Festival this year, Sunday, May 22nd. It will be at Lake Mohawk. Also on June 12th at Station Park, they will be having their tournament. If you want additional information, you can go either to their Facebook page or their website for more information or to register to participate.
Thank you. Any other reports?
I have an update for the Diversity Council meeting that we had this month. It was super productive. Also, we had our book club meeting this past Tuesday night. Over 30 community members participated in the book club. The book was Ghost Boys. It was read by students, parents, faculty, administrators, and community members. Powerful and poignant insights were gained as the community came together through over an hour and a half of conversation, and everyone left with a clearer sense of how openness can be as the first step towards togetherness and understanding. So we have decided the next book selection is Brown Girl Dreaming, and that's going to be held next month in March, and it will combine both racial equity and Women's History Month. If you'd like to sign up for that, there's an interest form that will be available. You can also email Scott Kircher or Brent Rivers for more information on that. Later on in the agenda tonight, you will see a resolution accepting a donation of $1,500 for supplies that was donated by Askin and Hooker. This is going to support the adoption of the accessibility icon for our handicapped parking spots. The subcommittee is working out details and dates for a 2-day event to repaint those spots at all 5 district buildings. The accessibility icons challenge the old notion that someone in a wheelchair is static, wooden, with a square. So these new signs are quite different. The body is synonymous with the chair and creates the impression of someone who needs to get a push through the world. So these new symbols and designs look a lot more like a person wheeling him or herself independently. So we are looking for volunteers for that. Those dates are not set yet. So again, if you want to volunteer for that, you can contact Mr. Kircher, or you can sign up using the Sparta Diversity webpage. And then the last thing is the LGBTQ+ Awareness Subcommittee is working with Amazon Pictures. We are going to have a screening for Always Jane, which is about a transgender student right here in Sparta. This is a huge project. It's a 4-episode series, so we are encouraging everybody who is interested to go ahead and attend that as well. So that's all I have for that.
Thank you, Wendy. Kim?
I have two quick updates. One, as the PTO liaison, the Alpine Tricky Tray will be, sorry, I'm fogging up, guys. The Alpine, Neve, if I say anything wrong, just correct me. The Alpine Tricky Tray is April 8th at the Lake Mohawk Country Club. Tickets are going on sale March 1st. Donations, they're accepting donations from any and all. can contact Megan Spiro, who's the president of the Alpine PTO. Her email is alpinepto@gmail.com, or you can contact Amanda Tomasello at alpinepto@gmail.com. And then the other liaison position I wanted to report out on was we met last week, so it was a week ago today, so the 17th, with the town council. It was Craig, Matt, Kurt, and me, Josh Hertzberg, and Chris Quinn. And we continued the discussion about lighting the path at Station Park, between Station Park and the back of the high school. The thought was, now that the weather has broken, they could proceed with, the plans. So they have gotten back there, they've taken a look, the project will go forward. Obviously now we're expecting another snowstorm. But I just wanted to let everybody know that the township is very supportive of lighting that path, which, to remind everybody, they own, but our students use. So it's we can't light it because it's not our property. So they're willing to put the lighting up for us. We don't have final plans yet, but it's in the works. I'd really like to thank the town council liaisons for helping push this through. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
I have a few reports as well.
Lauren?
So earlier this month, I attended the Sussex County School Boards Association meeting. That was a really great meeting that also kind of led into our diversity liaison committee, because we had some guests from King University that spoke on DEI, which, if you're not familiar with the acronym, is Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I found it really refreshing how they talked about privilege with a different kind of definition that I'd heard of them before, where it was really not from a place of guilt or burden or feeling bad, but really just understanding others through a foundation of empathy, and really taking the time to break down what does it mean when we talk about diversity, inclusion, equity, and justice. And they had a very good presentation that I've requested a copy of so I can send out to all the board. You can look at. They've also been willing to meet with us if we'd like to, kind of extend that into our diversity council or as a board. But I felt like the suggestions were great, and it was wonderful to see how many of the things that they were including in terms of district buy-in and all the stakeholders were things we already have in place in Sparta that some other districts don't. And we know the work is still to continue, but it was really great to see that we have a good framework in place that they would like to see. We also heard from Sussex County Superintendent Dr. Carrick, and she spoke to, compliment to you, Dr. Beck, with how well the superintendents have been just working together in Sussex County, really to navigate through this, with the focus being on mental health for our students especially. And I appreciate that there's been such open dialogue and to really support our students through that time. I also went through some of the legislative pieces that you spoke with, Matt, and it was great to hear about the student non-voting member, and they said that they'll be speaking more to the school boards about that upcoming guidance. There's a lot of education bills. They had one of their governance representatives on that spoke to a number of education bills that are coming up, mainly with funding. So that's mainly on that. And then the next meeting was on Garden State Coalition of Schools. That was just yesterday. That was a really eye-opening meeting, really great, really good participation from a number of student superintendents and board members from across the state. Senator Gopal spent over an hour answering questions. He's from District 11 and is the new chair to the Education Committee and the Senate. He has a very ambitious agenda, but he's really seeking to understand really the core issues, and he approved the S2 Coalition Task Force to really look into school funding, which of course is important for us. They also brought up some concerns over 25 to 50% of juniors in the state anticipated not to pass the math section of the graduation assessment, and how they'll be approaching that as a coalition. Addressing transportation costs with the cap of 2%. So there's a lot of funding, a lot of things that were important for us to look at. I'll send out all the notes of that, but I found it very encouraging to hear that other districts are working through the same challenges that we have, and certainly with a focus on student mental health and retention of teachers and making sure that we can support teachers coming into the pipeline for our grade schools.
Thank you, Lauren. Any other updates? All right, good, thanks, everybody. Moving on to public comment number 1, which are in regards to action items only. Public comments are invited on matters pertaining only to action items at this time. Please state the action item number, as well as your name and municipality and group affiliation, if appropriate, for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. There will be a countdown timer. You will be notified when there is 1 minute remaining, and then again when the time is up at the end of the 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to others. The board uses the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not all issues brought to a board meeting will be resolved this evening. Rather, the board will, in appropriate cases, delegate the authority to investigate the matter to the superintendent or his designee. The board does not endorse your comments, nor will the board be held liable for comments you make about a staff member or other person which they may consider defamatory and or slanderous, as that individual retains all rights to pursue any legal remedies against you. This public session is designed for members of the public to speak on issues for board consideration. By law, the Board of Education is under no obligation to respond to public comment. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board at the conclusion of public participation. This portion of the meeting is meant to hear public comment, not to have a dialogue between the board and the person speaking. The board asks that all members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking and not disrupt the meeting, or you may be asked to leave. All statements should be directed to me as the presiding officer, and no one may address the board members individually. Do we have anybody for public comment number 1?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Frida Lewis, and I do live in Sparta. The one thing I just
Dr.
would,
Lewis.
I'm specifically...
Dr. Lewis, I'm sorry, may I interrupt you for 1 second? Can you just tell me what item, or tell us what item?
Policy number 8465,
Thank you
bias
very much.
crimes and bias-related acts.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
No
Appreciate it.
problem.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to read what is actually stated in here. Bias-related acts involving students can lead to further violence and retaliation. Bias-related acts, by their nature, are confrontational, inflame tensions, and promote social hostility, and will not be tolerated by the school district. I just chose this opportunity to discuss this. I do have a child in the middle school. We are having more and more issues. I have been a resident of Sparta for now 14 years. I have actually delivered quite a few babies in Sparta. One of my concerns as a parent, I have a middle school child who is hearing the N-word every single day. When you are going to be voting on this, it's specifically talking about acts. We do not talk about words. I'm not certain where I can find what we do about words. The problem with words, especially my child is crying daily because of this. It is ridiculous that this is something that I'm dealing with in my home. When it comes to words, other children will say, how do you know we're not saying ninja or neighbor? These words are actually confrontational. We find them to be something that is actually threatening to her because she knows the history of the word. And I just implore the Board of Education to find whether it's a new policy. I know this is not something that can be corrected tonight, but it is becoming more and more of a problem in this community. And I do feel like this is my community. We talk about diversity and inclusion. I usually am here at every single board meeting. If I'm not at a meeting, I am online. This is a big concern for me. Our community is becoming more and more diverse. And a lot of times when these words, whether it's specifically towards race, specifically towards sexual orientation, or ethnicity. A lot of times it is one child's word against another child's word. The buses are a very big problem. She is on a difficult bus. Previously, I empower my children to be their own speaker, and it is becoming more and more of a problem. So I'm just asking you, I know I brought it up in this section because this is something that you're voting on specifically based on acts. I read through that, and I'm not certain what are the best next steps with this because it is truly becoming a problem in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. I'm just going to address that. I'm going to address that right now, Dr. Lewis, if that's okay, and this will be the top priority in our next personnel policy meeting for next month. So this will be the top discussion item in our meeting, okay? So thank you, we appreciate it. Yes, and Mr. Zinnemer just corrected me in that every policy needs 2 readings. So it'll be a couple board meetings before we are able to make any action on it just for that reason. But we will discuss at our next policy meeting next month, so thank you. Anyone else for public comment number 1? Okay, thank you. Motion to close, please.
Motion.
Eve, thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion? All,
I do have a question, Mr. Pleshy. So based on Dr. Lewis's comments.
This is just, there's a pending motion to close the public participation.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
No, he asked
So-
for discussion.
Yeah, this is on the motion to close the public participation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead to
Yeah,
discussion
that's
of the
okay.
actual policy.
No, this is just to close the public participation. So,
Gotcha.
Any discussion on the motion to close?
No.
okay. All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to section.
I just have a question. When we go to vote on personnel policy, I want to ask a question or discuss policy 8465.
Why don't we wait till we move that section?
Okay. I thought we were there.
Okay, moving on to personnel and policy, section 15.
Yeah, I just have a couple revisions to the agenda, which I informed the board of. On 15.3, I would recommend to remove Deborah Holder's name from the rescind list, as she will remain with the district. And I would like to remove items 15.9 and 15.21.
Thank you, Dr. Beck. So we're going to vote on sections 15.1 through 15.3, again with the exception of Deborah Holder, who was removed from this section administratively by Dr. Beck. And then sections 15.4 through 15.8 and 15.10 through 15.20. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Eve, thank you. Second?
Second.
Wendy, was that you? Yep. Thank you. Discussion?
Now, sorry about that. Just addressing Dr. Lewis's comments concerning policy 8465. The changes made to this policy came from Strauss-Esme. And so do we want to vote on it as is and then continue the conversation based on her concerns so that we would just continue to accept the policy changes recommended by Strauss-Esme? So I would suggest that we accept it as is and then we continue the conversation. We can make,
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like Mr. Pleshy said, it's only a first reading anyway, so it's not formally getting adopted. All tonight's vote does is get it to the next step, and you can certainly have a thorough discussion in your policy committee about any further edits that we can bring back upon second reading. So that's absolutely fine.
Okay, great, thank you. That was it.
Roll call, please, Ann.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palashi?
Yes. Moving on to section 16, we're voting on section 16.1 through 16.11. Do I have a motion? Neve, thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Ms. Seelander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes. Moving on to section 17. We'll be voting on section 17.1 through 17.13. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Neve, thank you. Second?
Second.
Lauren, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Ms. Seelander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes. Moving on to section 18. We only have section 18.1 here. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Neve, thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Ms. Seelander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes. Moving on to old business. Do we have any old business that anyone wants to discuss or bring up? No, we'll move on to section 20, new business. Does anybody have any new business you'd like to bring up or discuss? Kim?
I had one item, thank you. I would like to, Dr. Beck, I would like to ask you to please consider surveying our students directly to see what sports or clubs we don't currently offer, but they would be interested in participating in. And this conversation kind of started for me mentally in the fall. I actually touched base with Wendy about it at some point. We currently offer, I'm just giving you kind of my train of thought. We currently offer a fall cheerleading team. We don't offer a winter cheerleading program. And I see our competitors, from other districts. Some of them do, not all of them, but some of them do. And it made me wonder, well, geez, if we have enough students who want to participate in the fall, we might. I mean, if I were interested, I would want to do it when it was warmer, like inside in the winter for basketball, not outside. So that's kind of what got me going. Is it was one night it was freezing. I was like, oh my gosh, these poor cheerleaders. So, and then the more I thought about it, and when I touched base with Wendy about it, she mentioned, well, geez, maybe there is an interest for like a dance team or something. And then I got thinking, well, we had this great initiative by two parents who really, because of them, we have a gymnastics team, a girls' gymnastic team. One of the parents is here this evening, maybe both, I don't know, but one is. And then I thought, well, geez, maybe there's interest for a boys' gymnastic team, and we just haven't offered it, right? So these are just kind of some of the things that I was thinking about, and I was thinking that perhaps it would be really great if we could also survey our middle schoolers, because ultimately they're the ones who are going into the high school. And although I'm focusing on sports in this conversation, I really mean co-curriculars as well. Is there a club out there that our students are interested in participating in that we don't currently offer, but there might be an interest for? So if you would please consider just sending out a survey to see what we don't offer and what kids want, and so we can serve our students best.
Absolutely. I'll set up a meeting with Dr. Lazara and Mr. Triburi next week.
Great, thank you very much.
Anyone else? Thank you. Before we go into public comment number 2, I'm going to jump to for the good of the order quickly. I would like to kick off for the good of the order by congratulating Dr. Beck on successfully completing his doctorate and defending his doctorate last about a little more than a week ago. So congratulations. Yeah. That's a big accomplishment. Anything else for the good of the order?
Craig, I wanted to add just several of us got a chance to welcome Sarah Escobar home from the Olympics, which was awesome. She went to Sparta High School, and we can't say how proud we are of her. There was a significant number of people there. It made big news, and certainly very proud for our local residents that are from Ecuadorian descent, as well as just to have a Sparta High School alum achieve in the Olympics. So really great role model for our students.
Thank you.
That was exciting, Lauren. And that was actually, although our wonderful local media picked it up, it was also picked up by the national media. The story of her homecoming was picked up by Bruce Beck on the Olympic Zone, like at 7:30 before the Olympics started at 8 p.m. So that was pretty exciting to see the warm reception highlighted at a national level.
That was great.
Craig, I did have something. I didn't know we were going to do this out of order, but I wanted to congratulate the Unify team, Oh, sorry. Did you go to? Oh yeah, you were there with me. So we were at the game. There was a bunch of us at the game, and it was a great game. Here, Wendy, you talk.
Well, no, I was just going to say that they, the Unified basketball team had a super successful season. Their last game was today, and I know they're in the works for track for spring. So I'm just excited to see this program continuing to move forward. And it's the games are exciting. Soccer was exciting. The game today was exciting, and I'm sure the track season is going to be great. So if you see the schedule, try to get out there and support the team.
Yeah.
Actually, they still have, so today was the last regular season game. So they have the playoffs starting this weekend, actually.
All right, that's even better. You guys still have a chance to get to basketball.
Still a chance to watch basketball, yeah.
Yeah, so they won tonight 34 to 29 against West Milford. Do we have the schedule yet for the playoffs?
We do. I don't have it handy, but there is one, yes.
Okay, great.
Anything else? All right, great. We'll move on now to public comment number 2. The board uses the second public comment period to invite comments on all matters pertaining to the school district. Please state your name, municipality, and group affiliation, if appropriate, for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. There will be a countdown timer. You will be notified when there is 1 minute remaining, and then again when the time is up at the end of 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to others. The board uses the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not all issues brought to a board meeting will be resolved this evening. Rather, the board will, in appropriate cases, delegate the authority to investigate the matter to the superintendent or his designee. The board does not endorse your comments, nor will the board be held liable for comments you make about a staff member or other person, which they may consider defamatory and or slanderous, as that individual retains all rights to pursue any legal remedies against you. This public session is designed for members of the public to speak on issues for board consideration. By law, the Board of Education is under no obligation to respond to public comment. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board at the conclusion of public participation. This portion of the meeting is meant to hear public comment, not to have a dialogue between the board and the person speaking. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking and not disrupt the meeting, or you may be asked to leave. All statements should be directed to me as the presiding officer, and no one may address board members individually. Do we have anybody for public comment number 2?
Hi, everyone. Lauren Rossi, Sparta.
Hi, Ms. Rossi.
Hi. Congratulations, Mr. Beck, on getting your doctorate.
Thank you.
Amazing accomplishment. I'm here tonight, as usual, to advocate for social-emotional learning in our district. I want to thank Mrs. Rossi for making this an area of focus and really providing a lot of support and attention to the Sparta C3 committee. And also, I know that you're digging deeper into it every chance you get, so thank you for that. I knew that you would be working on the budget and approving the budget coming up. I want to make clear that we have heard in many capacities that social emotional learning is an area of focus, that mental health is an area of focus. The past couple years, I have not seen a big line item under social emotional learning. I do understand that positions in our district have been created to support these student needs, but there's other areas that I think that we need to assess and look into. According to the American School Counseling Association, the student to counselor ratio is 250 to 1. I know that's an optimum number, but I'm looking at Alpine and I'm thinking that the amazing, incredible job that Heather Yanoff does day in and day out is phenomenal, but a 1 to 700 student to counselor ratio is, 3 times the recommended amount. We need preventative measures for the exact reason that Dr. Lewis spoke tonight, for the exact reason that we need our students building social emotional competencies and feeling that for interpersonal relationships and intrapersonal relationships with themselves and others, we need the resources to build those competencies. We need the resources to come out of a COVID crisis in which we're suffering tremendously in our communities, in our state, and in our nation. And we need to not only talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and social emotional learning as something that is abstract, but we need to talk about in the ways in which we're actually ingraining it into our schools with faculty, with tools, with programs that are perhaps outside of the box of what we've normally done here in order to give kids experiences that show them relationships and situations that are different than maybe even right here with student exchange or with other programs or journals or resources that we need right now more than ever. So I really hope that we consider what these counselors have done for us and what they're doing for us and what we need to provide for them as well, and what our students need and the increase of the ratio so that we have preventative measures. I think the Align Wellness team is doing an incredible job. For my eyes, I look at them as a treatment plan, individual counseling, group counseling, outside of school hours, even counseling. It's phenomenal. I'm so thankful for them and this district incorporating that in and putting resources into it. But we also need all of our students being reached.
1 minute.
And all of our students getting the opportunity to gain these competencies if they're not in group counseling. And I know that the counselors are bringing some classroom lessons, but I think we also all know that we need an increase in addressing these needs and amping up what we're actually doing to create the competencies and a school culture and climate that meets the needs of all students. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rossi. Anyone else for public comment number 2?
I just want to respond to Ms. Rossi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I have a motion to close, please?
Motion.
Second.
Neve and Kim, thank you very much. All in favor? Sorry, we need discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Ms. Rossi, I agree with you. I agree with everything that you said. So we are putting the budget together right now. It's very difficult to put a budget together. I have requests from every building for staff that is needed, not wanted. But the Alpine counselor is, I can't promise anything, but it's at the top of my list of priorities. So we're going to see what we can do.
Next, we are going to go into a second closed session tonight. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, provides for the exclusion of the public from a meeting in circumstances, and whereas the Sparta Township Board of Education is of the opinion that such circumstances exist to discuss student matters and attorney-client privilege, which is exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Sparta Township Board of Education shall enter into closed session on February 24th, 2022 at 9:13 p.m. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the executive session. The information discussed during the executive session will be disclosed to the public as soon as it is determined by the board that the information is no longer confidential. That was a motion. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Eve. Discussion?
No action, right?
No action.
No action.
No action.
And and will be about,
Let's do the, sorry.
I need a roll call, please.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Grano?
Yes.
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palasci?
Yes, and will be about between 30 and 45 minutes. And no action will be taken.